You are here for a reason, and this moment is no accident. If you're reading these words right now, something extraordinary is unfolding in your life, whether you realize it or not. You are one of the few who are destined for a transformation unlike any other. This isn't just a change, it's a spiritual awakening, a deep shift that will open new doors and reveal truths you may have only dreamed of. You've been chosen, and the path that lies before you is filled with unimaginable growth and divine purpose. Take a deep breath and feel the energy of this moment. You are not alone in this journey. The universe has guided you here because you are ready to step into something much greater. Embrace this with an open heart, because your divine transformation is already underway, and soon your life will unfold in ways that will leave you in awe. You are part of a select few who will witness the extraordinary, those who are prepared to rise and align with their true purpose. Your time is now. If you are ready for this incredible awakening, then keep moving forward. Trust that the universe is conspiring in your favor, and nothing can stand in the way of your divine destiny. This is your time to shine, and the best is yet to come. Get ready. Your journey to greatness begins now. A silent current moves beneath what you call ordinary life, an unseen momentum, ready to lift the veil of the known and carry it away like dust before dawn. What waits beyond is not a dream, but a reality seeded into the fabric of existence since before you took your first breath. The moment draws near when perception will stretch and everything once thought solid will dissolve into something immeasurable. This isn't a fleeting encounter, but the ignition of a deeper shift, a rebirth sculpted by forces far beyond comprehension. Not everyone will feel the pulse of this change, but for those attuned to it, a new rhythm begins, one that calls the spirit to rise beyond boundaries it never knew it had. This awakening will not knock, it will arrive like a sudden crack in the sky, unexpected and final. What once held meaning may scatter like mist under light. As a vast new sense of self takes shape, it will be disorienting, possibly overwhelming, but not without purpose. This isn't a vanishing, it's an unfolding into a broader expanse of being where constraint no longer speaks the loudest. The passage forward won't be marked by familiar signposts, but by a resonance within, a deep internal knowing that something immense and irreversible is at hand. The old patterns will no longer fit, and in their place, a radiant stillness will settle in, a space beyond resistance, where all that remains is clarity, presence, and the silent embrace of something eternal. This is your moment. Hit subscribe now and step into something greater. Don't miss out. There exists a rare brilliance within certain souls, an inner light not shaped by the world, but born from something far beyond it. When the moment arrives, this illumination will no longer remain hidden. A movement set into place by a force no hand can restrain is unfolding with precision, unknown to time. This motion does not answer to chaos or crisis. It continues unshaken, pulling select spirits toward a threshold where identity is redefined. What stirs is not a storm, but a silent awakening guided by harmony, not haste. There is no need to grasp or struggle. The path unfolds for those attuned to its frequency. This elevation, meant for only a few, draws near, not as reward, but as alignment with an essence long carried within. Unseen by the many, this call vibrates through the core of those meant to step forward. The path is narrow, yet vast in meaning, and not all are meant to walk it. To wonder why me is natural. But the answer exists, not in logic, but in resonance. It is the quiet strength, the unshaken faith, the pull towards something more that marks the chosen. As the collective dream continues below, a select few are being stirred from within. Their journey won't always mirror others, and solitude may at times accompany their ascent, yet they are never truly on their own. A presence, subtle but certain, guides each step with care. This passage isn't random. It is deeply woven into the design of one's inner evolution. It is a sacred task and a profound gift wrapped into one. Hold it with reverence, for it is not merely a calling, it is the quiet roar of destiny awakening. What unfolds now is not merely a single point in time, it is the beginning of an intricate unfolding that transcends logic or prediction. It arrives not with spectacle, but with depth, pulling certain souls into a sequence only fate could design. This isn't chaos dressed in mystery. It's a deliberate shift, shaped with precision, bearing a resonance that bypasses understanding and instead speaks straight to the spirit. There will be moments of awe, others of quiet intensity. It is not about immediate clarity, but the trust that something greater is molding every turn. The familiar will begin to lose form, and what once seemed solid may feel like mist. This is no collapse. It is a reformation, deep and silent, drawing the spirit upward toward a vantage point it was always meant to reach. In this transformation, awareness begins to widen beyond the familiar frame. The usual borders of reality thin out, and something vast begins to emerge, a closeness to something immense, as though standing on the edge of a horizon that keeps expanding. This process, though invisible to the masses, is tailored with intention, bound to the soul's design. There may be skeptics who reduce it to myth or fiction, but those who feel it will know it as truth, not written in books, but in the marrow of their becoming. What begins as uncertainty will deepen into knowing. The landscape around may shift, but the pulse of this higher movement remains steady. The change is no longer coming. It is here, and its momentum cannot be undone. There are moments in existence when silence begins to hum with unseen meaning, when the air itself seems to press in with invisible weight. This is not coincidence. A grand pivot is underway, one that signals not just a change in condition, but a complete redirection of spiritual current. The age that once carried the masses has thinned, its threads unraveling, making way for something rarer to emerge. It's no longer about surviving what is, but stepping into what must become. Doubt may creep in, questioning the origin of this stirring, the upheaval of norms, the dissonance in the soul. But beneath it all lies the pulse of something that has waited lifetimes to awaken. This turning wasn't triggered by chaos, but was born long before it, arriving now to lift those attuned out of the dense repetition of a world that no longer serves growth. The clues to this turning are not confined to headlines or surface events. They rise in the cracking of old illusions, in the subtle evolution of collective thought, in the way inner truths refuse to be silenced. Though these shifts might look like instability, they are markers, part of a greater purification that clears space for something clearer and more enduring. The unfolding of this transformation is not haphazard. It's a calculated rhythm designed to align with those ready to shed what's outgrown. The moment isn't future, it is unfolding already, designed by a force that has been shaping each step of the path through every triumph and fracture. It is no accident that the present moment feels charged. This is the point where spirit meets purpose, where the inner and outer converge. The horizon now visible is not a destination, but a crossing, and the timing could never have been otherwise. The arc of this shift is exact, and every soul called to it stands precisely where they must. What may appear as unraveling is, in truth, the cracking of a shell that was never meant to last. The structures once seen as stable are losing shape, not from failure, but from fulfillment. They have served their time and now must give way to what is rising. This turning point is not random. It is part of a vast and intentional orchestration, tuned to the rhythm of inner evolution. The shift unfolding now is not accidental nor sudden. It is a crescendo, long in the making, reaching those who have silently prepared through lifetimes of soul-deep movement. What surrounds you, no matter how unsettling, is not collapse, but transformation in motion. The tremors in nature, the unrest in society, the shift in awareness. They are signals coded into the very bones of this planet, pointing to the emergence of a new frame of existence, one that doesn't mirror the old, but replaces it entirely. These outward events act as echoes of a deeper transition. What seems like turmoil is the world stretching to birth something purer, and within that stretch lies a message. The phase that once held humanity is no longer viable. The ancient mold is being broken, and through the fractures, light enters. The disturbances in the external world are not punishments. They are the necessary friction through which the soul is reshaped. Every moment of intensity is another step closer to clarity. There is no error in timing. The convergence of events is exact. What is being dismantled is the illusion, and in its place, something luminous is being carved into existence. This isn't the end of the world. It is the end of the version that blocked awakening. And for those attuned, the way forward is becoming clear with every shift. The transition ahead is not an isolated passage. It is a harmonic movement, a rise in collective frequency. What some may perceive as fantasy is becoming tangible to those aligned with the unfolding design. It's not a lone ascent, but a synchronized rising, a shared elevation, where souls who have prepared in silence now move together toward a new horizon. This migration is not away from life, but toward its deeper purpose, toward a layer of reality where unity replaces separation and resonance replaces fear. While each individual will feel the change uniquely, it is part of a larger weave, a sacred choreography where many threads form one radiant design, and in that design, the essence of what it means to exist will be rewritten, not gradually, but all at once, like the dawn chasing shadows. This moment does not ask for waiting. It calls for readiness. The emergence is no longer distant. It is breathing at the edge of now. The gateway before you demands more than belief. It calls for a radical reorientation of the soul. What approaches is not familiar, nor can it be met with hesitation. It requires the inner landscape to be cleared, steadied, and attuned to a frequency beyond logic or routine. Waiting for clarity is no longer an option. This is the moment to move, to surrender what once tethered you to hesitation, and allow a deeper energy to take root. This preparation is not about outer readiness. It's about dissolving the veils that shield the spirit from its own brilliance. The time has come to outgrow the weight of past wounds and embrace a deeper truth, pulsing quietly within. Each pause for stillness, each breath taken in devotion, becomes a step into alignment with something infinitely greater. What lies ahead isn't arriving later, it's unfolding now, and your depth of presence will shape the richness of what you receive. Let trust replace control, and let each choice made in awareness become the bridge to your higher essence. As the passage opens, the familiar scaffolding of the physical realm begins to dissolve, giving way to an expanded reality where the soul no longer lives by limitation. This isn't a shift in thought, it's a transmutation of being. In this higher terrain, the echoes of fear, scarcity, and struggle fade into silence, replaced by a resonance of wholeness that cannot be shaken. Time bends, space softens, and love becomes the central axis around which everything spins. In this new state, the soul is no longer fragmented. It moves freely in the rhythm of divine harmony. The burdens of the material dissolve not by force, but by becoming irrelevant. What matters shifts entirely. Connections deepen beyond words, and each moment glows with the awareness that existence itself is a sacred act. Here, the truth is not something found, but something remembered, a living knowing that you have always belonged to something infinite, and that you are now, at last, waking into it. This is your moment. Hit subscribe now and step into something greater. Don't miss out. The energy moving through this shift is not subtle. It is immersive, all-penetrating, and deeply stabilizing. In the coming reality, division fades into illusion, and what remains is an unbroken current of connection. There, existence itself becomes communion, and isolation is no longer part of the experience. This expanded state holds no trace of the distance once felt between soul and source. What unfolds is not a vague comfort, but a living force, steady, powerful, and unshakably near. No shadow lingers in this new space. Fear cannot follow you into its light. What surrounds and sustains you is not metaphorical, but visceral, felt in every breath as presence, as guidance, as unwavering shelter. This support is not earned. It is granted freely as part of stepping into the deeper truth of being. It will carry you through what once felt impossible, and even when the path curves sharply, this embrace remains, constant as breath itself. Following this awakening, the very structure of your inner world will undergo a complete reconfiguration. What once clouded your clarity will no longer hold weight. The mind will no longer battle the heart, and both will rise in unison towards something vast and luminous. With this expansion, perception will shift, not just how you see, but what you see. The burdens once mistaken for identity will dissolve, and in their absence, a truer form of you will rise, one aligned with the rhythm of the divine. There will be no need to seek approval or explanation. You will know yourself as part of something eternal. This transformation won't be loud, but it will be total, reaching into the very shape of your awareness. Peace will no longer be a state to chase, but a natural condition. Joy will not come and go. It will be the tone of your new reality. In that realm, you do not become something else. You return fully to what you've always been. What draws near now is not up for negotiation. Its path has long been etched beyond human reach, immune to hesitation or resistance. The unfolding that approaches is not subject to the weight of fear or the noise of disbelief. It moves with a force that cannot be interrupted, with a clarity untouched by chaos. This isn't chance. It is the movement of a design that began before time took shape, and those meant to rise with it. Those attuned to the deeper current cannot be separated from its pull. No external storm, no internal struggle, no voice of doubt can shift the course that has already begun. When uncertainty whispers, remember, this momentum isn't reactionary, it's inevitable. It moves not because of the world, but in spite of it. Faith, in this moment, isn't waiting for proof. It is walking forward in alignment with a truth that has always been greater than the world's noise. Now the veil between what is and what will be has grown thin. The final gateway stands open, not as a demand, but as an invitation. What's needed isn't effort or control, but surrender, an unguarded yes to the transformation that is ready to unfold. Release the grip on outdated echoes, the worn-out fears, the patterns of shrinking, the shadows that once felt like safety. Step instead into the vastness that awaits, into a space crafted for your soul to expand and remember. This is not an ending, but an ignition, the first breath of a life designed for fullness and divine resonance. In this new rhythm, everything moves in harmony with a deeper intelligence. The illusion of separation falls away, and what remains is a profound connection to the source of all things. What begins now will not resemble the past. It is the dawn of a purpose lived fully, a joy carried effortlessly, a truth embodied beyond language. The threshold is here, and the future it opens to is limitless. There are moments when a soul's echo finally reaches its destined crescendo, and now is such a moment. This calling isn't accidental, and the depth of what stirs within has been growing silently through every trial, every tear, every quiet act of courage. What is coming isn't a coincidence or a fleeting impulse. It is the culmination of a sacred sequence beyond the limits of time. The force that moves now through your being is no less than a sacred directive etched into your essence before form was ever given. The path you've walked, with its weight and its revelations, has not been for nothing. Every step was a preparation, every fall a refinement. The moment to rise has arrived, not because the world demands it, but because something greater has already set it into motion. This emergence is far more than a personal awakening. It is the ignition of a purpose that spans beyond the boundaries of self. What you carry is not just intention, it is encoded light, meant to ripple outward and touch lives far beyond your own. To be chosen is not a reward, it is a responsibility born from alignment with something eternal. This is not a task of grandeur or recognition, but of essence, living as a presence so grounded in love that others awaken simply by encountering your truth. You are not here to convince or to conquer. You are here to reflect something timeless, to embody a truth that helps rethread the spiritual fabric of a shifting world. Now is not the time to hesitate. The shift is here, and your presence within it matters. What begins now is the full acceptance of a mission not assigned, but remembered. And in that remembrance, the world begins to change. Not everyone walks this earth with dormant greatness humming beneath their surface, but you do. There is a sacred thread running through your existence, woven long before you arrived here. And now that thread begins to tighten, pulling you toward the moment it was always leading to. This journey is not a smooth road, nor is it built for the faint-hearted. It will ask more of you than comfort ever could. Yet the very essence of who you are holds all that is needed. What lifts you forward is not loud. It is the quiet certainty planted in your spirit, a knowing that there is something vast and unseen counting on your willingness to rise. You weren't chosen by accident. This summons comes because you carry something the world desperately needs to remember, the unshakable clarity of purpose fused with divine trust. This isn't just a spiritual occurrence, it's an awakening that cuts through illusion and calls your entire being into alignment. The signal is not subtle. It pulses like a heartbeat through the stillness, asking whether you are ready to reclaim what was always yours. This is not about escaping the world. It is about transforming within it. Distractions will try to pull you into their spin, but now is the moment to silence their pull and tune into something deeper. What's being asked is surrender, not to loss, but to truth. Let the past shed like worn skin and meet the future not as a mystery, but as a calling remembered. The shift that approaches will not wait for your comfort. It only waits for your readiness. This isn't about waiting to be shown the way. It's about realizing the map was always etched into your soul. Every piece you need already lives inside you. All that remains is the yes, the open-hearted acceptance of a purpose that was written for your name alone. The moment unfolding before you is not just an event, it's a convergence, a meeting point between your essence and the vast intelligence that shapes the cosmos. What you are being called into cannot be navigated with the old tools of certainty or familiarity. This is a sacred entry into a new rhythm, one that asks you to release what you've outgrown and move in step with something far more expansive. The invitation now is to step beyond the visible and attune to the currents moving silently through your soul. As you align, awareness begins to sharpen, and the layers that once dimmed your clarity start to dissolve. This rising is not solitary. You are being carried by a stream of divine precision that knows your name, that's been guiding you all along. In its unfolding, a deeper recognition emerges. You are not waiting for the right moment, you are the moment. The alignment underway is not limited to stars or planetary shifts. It is the recalibration of your entire inner framework. Everything is being retuned. Every emotion, every memory, every breath, to match the pulse of an unfolding dimension where truth vibrates at a higher octave. While the external world appears to rearrange itself, it is your inner field that is undergoing the most profound change. These shifts may feel subtle at first, a heightened sensitivity, a sudden pull toward stillness, or moments of unexplainable peace. But beneath the surface, a deep reorganization is occurring. This is the preparation, not a passive waiting, but a conscious shaping. Through silence, through intention, through sacred pause, you are becoming a vessel capable of holding what the next phase requires. You're not adjusting to a new world, you're harmonizing with it. What lies ahead is both a culmination and a beginning. The experiences now being drawn into your path are not random. They are encoded with instruction, each one revealing something essential about your emergence. The elevation you are moving toward will not allow the old forms to remain. The past, its illusions, its limitations, its illusions of smallness, must now be shed. What replaces them is not a version of you altered, but a version of you remembered. You are not becoming, you are uncovering. Trust this unraveling. Let it shape you. The divine has already set the path into motion, and your steps are guided not by prediction, but by deep inner knowing. The change is not coming. It is here, and you are more ready than you think. The moment that beckons is not merely a shift, it is a cataclysmic leap into a new realm of existence. This is not a fleeting moment. It is the foundation of everything that lies ahead, where the veils of limitation will dissolve and you will encounter your essence in its purest form. To step into this new reality requires more than a desire for change. It demands a profound dedication to your inner transformation. You must release the anchors of doubt, surrender to the process, and trust that despite the current obscurity, you are moving exactly as intended. Deep within, the stirrings of change are already in motion. This awakening has begun, and as you lean into it, the power of this moment will become undeniable. This is the dawn of something monumental, Nothing will remain unchanged after it. Entering the expanded state of being is not about escaping the known. It is about fully entering the vast, untapped potential that has always existed within you. This evolution is not immediate, but rather a gradual unfolding, a steady reveal of your true nature beyond the confines of physical perception. As you transition, the way you interact with reality itself will be transformed. No longer will you be trapped by the boundaries of the material world. Instead, you will experience life through the lens of clarity, compassion, and serenity. This new dimension will not be a destination, but a process of inner and outer alignment. As you navigate this shift, trust that you are guided by something greater, a force that knows no limits and is present with you at every moment, helping you move forward into a reality far beyond what you thought possible.